All right. So in the last video, what we did was we went to Copilot and we asked it, hey, can you tell us about unit tests and integration tests and how would we be able to integrate these into our actual project that we've already built? So Copilot went and it gave us a whole bunch of unit tests, integration tests, and documentation to go along with that. And now what I am hoping to do in this video is investigate that and understand, okay, what did it actually do? How is it working? And also, Copilot was a little bit antsy and decided that it was also going to go and perform GitHub actions. It created a GitHub action and create a pull request. All four of these things, uh, unit tests, integration tests, GitHub actions, and pull requests, I have not dealt with at all, because I am a solo developer. Everything that I've ever done is always by myself. It is when I was at school, by myself. When I'm at work, I do very little code at work. Most of my work is electrical engineering, but the little code that I do is by myself. Then now in my projects, okay, well, I'm by myself, but projects do allow me a lot more freedom to be able to say, okay, I know that these things are important. Let me go and try to investigate them, understand how they're working, and explore, okay, let's do this. Let's add unit tests, let's add integration tests, let's add uh, pull requests, and let's do the GitHub actions. But now Copilot did all four of these things kind of at the same time, which, okay, that normally when I'm learning, I'm hoping to go to change one variable at a time, investigate it, then change the other variable, then change the other variable, then change the other variable, and learn each one individually. But now all four things have changed kind of at the same time. Not kind of at the same time, at the same time. Now, in this video, I'm hoping to be able to kind of reveal and pull back the strings on these changes and understand them. So I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller and then we will be able to so here's the documentation. I told it to create two documentations, suggested unit tests. This is what it created. Oh, okay, and I'm back. This is what it created before I did the actual. So first off, what I did was I had the Copilot go and create a document, look at my project right here, and create documentation as to unit tests. What I should be doing, how I can make them professional, what is the purpose, all of that. And so it created all of this documentation. We're going to go through it in this video, look at it. Then what I had it do is it decided that it wanted to write the unit tests. So we have a whole bunch of unit tests here. If I go to like, I can close all of these. Oh, actually those are the tests, but okay, anyways. There's a lot here, hold on. Okay, there. Now we're clean. So if I go to tests, which is here, we have the services here. So we're testing the services. We have the model. Oh, I see. So we're kind of copying the same structure that we have up here. Services, models, and then mirroring that over to the actual test. Okay, I see. So now bid selector, it wrote all this. Now we have a lot to investigate. Okay, budget, service tests, campaign cache tests, campaign tests, but then it also, do we have control? Okay, so we have tests for controllers as well. A lot, okay. Now, integration test. So we have two integration tests. Once again, I have no idea how we're going to do these. Are intentionally skipped by default. Okay. So we have a whole bunch of things which were created here. And then this one I believe is just, this is just a test, unit test. Okay, So now what I need to do, oh, this is one of the things. The other thing is, I'm not even sure, did it change my branch? Git branch. Which one are we on? Yeah, so we changed the branch that we're on. It went to my GitHub, it did a pull request, and it created these 4 GitHub actions, like workflows. There's a lot going on right now. So now what I need to do is unravel all this and try to consume as much knowledge and understanding as I can, and then figure out, okay, great, it did all this, all these 4 things. I knew, and this was explicitly what I had in my mind in the past, that I was going to do all 4 of these things eventually. I just didn't think that it was going to become this quick or arrive today, and all at the same time. So, okay, great. Now we are moving forward, and let's go and really try to dig into this and understand what's going on. That's the today's purpose. Okay, so to start things off, I am going to we okay, so this one is, let's come here and just look at, I'm just gonna go like this. There we go, hold that down, and then we can open up the first file that it created. So this is the one that it created before we actually, before it created any of the, let's start reading through it and figure out what questions we might have, and then if we have more questions we can go to the chat GPT. And obviously I know that it's Copilot, but I call this one Copilot, so this one's chat GPT. So we can go to chat GPT and ask it follow-up questions. So let's jump right in. Okay, this is my 4th cup of coffee today. 4th, and it's only 2:30. So all right, so this document lists a comprehensive, professional, and exhaustive set of unit tests I recommend adding to the Ad Simulator repository. So this is my project. For each test, I provide a clear name you can copy into your test suite, a concise description of what tests assert. Okay. The reason that the test is necessary, what bug or regression it prevents. What does it mean, regression it prevents? That might be a question for GPT. Set up mocking guidance. And so this is something that we need to be paying attention to because I interact with an SQL database, specifically Postgres, and I also interact with a Redis database. So how do we mock those things? And then how do we actually determine that the connection is working, right? Because it seems like there's multiple things going on there. Okay, priority, high, medium, low. Awesome. So I also included testing philosophy and thought process that guided the list. You can extend the tests in the future. Okay, so testing philosophy and thought process. Good unit tests focus on correctness, intent, edge cases, invariance, and interactions with external systems. So we are trying to test the interactions with external systems, such as Postgres, via controlled test doubles. Does this mean mocks? When writing tests, test behavior. So we're trying to test the behavior. What the class or service should do, not internal implementation details, okay? Cover happy paths, edge boundary conditions, and failure modes. Accepts, nils, invalid inputs. So we should do small single-purpose tests with descriptive names, and then the 3 stages. I know about those. Arrange, act, assert. Use mock or fakes for external dependencies. But then if we're using fakes for external dependencies, how do we know that we're actually connecting to them? Okay, so I feel like we have a few questions. The reason bug or regression it prevents. Okay, so first thing is I'm going to come here. I am now trying to start learning about, maybe I should do this in a new tab or a new one. Okay. Learning about what? Taking my project and adding unit tests, integration tests, and integration tests. Okay. Then I should explain the situation. I went to Agentic Copilot and asked it to review my project, and it created a document which does what? Explains about unit tests. It then went and implemented unit and integration tests for me. Okay. It then also went to my GitHub, created a pull request, and can I copy and paste that pull request? What was... Okay. Or do I want to copy this first? Okay. So it also went and created GitHub Actions. Like this. Okay. And now I can go to pull request here. Hopefully it doesn't time out. Okay, good. No. Like this, okay. Created a pull request. Like this, okay. I am now on a branch of this. Copy that and paste it into here. I am trying to understand what happened. Okay. What these actions are. Although it kind of did that for this second document. It it went here, and if we look at this, it explains what it did. Okay. But I also want to give GPT kind of context to what happened. So what happened and how I can move forward in my project. All right, so I'll do that. Let it think, and then, all right, I wanted to give it some context to what's going on because there was a lot that changed. So now we can continue reading this. So good unit tests are here. Now we can say prioritize, avoid randomness and time dependency in unit tests. Make them deterministic by seeding or injecting time. Okay. Prioritize tests that prevent regressions in business logic, budgeting, eligibility, bid selection, and those that guard critical side effects, database writes, cache invalidation. Okay. So tools and test setup, we're going to be using XUnit, which, yes, that's what we're trying to do. This is like the testing framework for C#. Assertion library, sure, we can have fluent assertions, just like assert true or assert one thing equals another. Mocking, we can use MOQ or in substitute for mocking our databases. Test data setup. Test data setup. Builder factory methods or auto fixture for concise test object creation. Okay. EF, Entity Framework Core, prefer SQLite, although we're using Postgres in our normal one. In-memory mode for realistic relational behavior. Use ensure created and stop tracking changes with a new context per request. Only for simple unit tests, but prefer SQLite for verifying SQL behaviors. Okay, so now Redis mock. We have the iConnection multiplexer and the iDatabase. We remember doing this when we were actually building our project. So we had the connection multiplexer and the iDatabase, which is how we were able to build the connection to Redis. Okay. So we do that using mock in substitute. For integration tests, use a real Redis container. Okay, so it sounds like the integration test is what is actually going to test if we're able to connect to the database then. Randomness. Consider adding small irandom abstractions so tests can inject deterministic seeds or call internal selection logic with deterministic setup. Okay. So CI run .NET test no build verbose normal in my pipeline. Fail builds for test regression. Okay, what if I just run this? I'm curious. So if I come here, I do that. Let's see what happens. What do you think? Okay. So test summary, 24, 0 failed, 22 succeeded, 2 skipped. And we just saw that 2 skipped was that integration test, wherever they decided to go off to. So we have here, and it says skipped by default, right? And then this one's going to be probably skipped by default as well. Skipped by default, yep. So that's the 2 skipped. Okay, but all of the unit tests passed. Okay. And that's how we run it, is that .NET and then test. Okay. So, Do I want to keep reading here, or do I want to read what it says here? I'm just going to skim it. A new branch was created. Yeah. This branch contains new test files and GitHub action workflows. Okay, so our GitHub actions. So follow-up question number 1, specific to the branch that I created. A pull request was open. Add high priority test unit test skeletons and suggested test docs. Okay, this pull request proposes merging the new test and CI setup into your main branch. Okay. So what this is indicating to me as of right now is I'm a co-pilot, but acting as me. Okay. Created a new branch. From that new branch, I wrote all of these unit tests and integration tests and did the CI pipeline. Now, the pull request is me to myself asking to bring that branch into the main. That's what I'm getting from here. I need to write that down here in follow-up question number 2. I need to articulate it and verify that, yes, this is actually what is going on. So I want to make sure that I have this correct. So from my understanding, what has happened was pilot created a new branch then did what? Then made changes in that branch. Why is my thing lagging a little bit? Okay. The changes include created a whole bunch of unit tests, 2 integration tests, and created GitHub actions. Now that Copilot has made these changes to this separate branch, okay? Now that it made changes to the separate branch, it opened up a pull request, which means that it wants to take those changes, which it did on the other branch, and it wants me to approve to merge this into my main branch. Is my understanding of this correct? So right now, what I'm trying to do is just understand where I'm at. Before I even try to understand all of the unit tests which it wrote, all of the integration tests, how they work, how it's going to interact with Docker, how it's going to interact with Redis, and all of this, before I even start thinking about that, I need to figure out, where am I? What branch am I on? How is this interacting with my GitHub account? What state am I in? Then once I know what state I'm in, now I can go in and try to understand the unit test. I think that's how I'm going to attack this situation. Okay. Okay. Is my understanding correct? Now, GitHub action workflows are added. A CI pipeline. Notice that it doesn't say CI/CD. Continuous integration, continuous development. So we don't have that continuous development part, or what? Now runs automatically whenever I push or update the PR. So is it only specific to the PR? To this specific pull request? Does this mean that the GitHub actions and the, what was it? Actions only apply to this specific pull request which was created? Meaning, if I do another pull request in the future, it will require me to create a whole brand new GitHub Actions workflow. Okay, you can see the runs listed under actions. Each commit triggered, or each commit triggered a run test. Okay. Where I am now, you're currently checked out on the feature branch. So add high priority unit test. This branch has new test files and CI configurations. The pull request is open, waiting for review and merge. How to move forward. Here's a practical roadmap. Okay. Open the test directory or wherever Copilot placed them. Okay. Read through the unit test skeletons. They're like placeholders with to-do comments. Integrate tests may need environment setups. Okay, database and API mocks. Okay. Run tests locally. Use your project's test runner. I think that's actually what we just did with the .NET test. Expand the skeletons. Fill in the actual logic for your core functions. Start small. Test one function thoroughly before moving to integration tests. Check GitHub action logs. Go to GitHub action tab on my repo, click the latest run, see if test passed or failed. Okay, I'm gonna say, by the way, I am doing my project in C sharp, and it is using XUnit. Okay. So there we go. We'll ask our follow-up question. I'm going to take a breather while it's thinking. I think it's done, but I wanted to wait a little bit longer. Okay. So, Alright, so are GitHub actions specific to the branch I created? No, GitHub action workflows are not tied to a single branch. They live in my repository under GitHub workflows. Let's look that up. .github workflows. Here. Okay. Name is CI on push to main from test. Okay. Anytime we have test something and try to push to main, okay, pull request to main. Okay. Workflow dispatch inputs run integration test description run integration test when service containers set to true to enable. So right now it's false. Default is false. Okay, so we're not running integration tests. Jobs. So unit tests. Name is unit test. We're running it on an Ubuntu image. Steps, we're going to name it checkout and cache NuGet packages. So we get those those NuGet packages, okay. Specifying the .NET version. Running .NET. Actually building it, okay. Then we do the run tests. So .NET test, no build, verbose, just like we just did right there, okay. So that's for the unit tests. For integration tests, so these are the steps which we take, yeah, that makes sense. For integration tests, this is optional. We also run it on Ubuntu. So if it's set to true, run integration should be up here. Yep. So if it's true, then we do this. Redis, we get a Redis image, set the ports, okay. So we're creating a Redis image and we're creating a Postgres image, okay. Makes sense. So integration really is going to be where we do the connection to the database. Okay. Environment variables, we pass in the Redis environment variables and the Postgres connection. Another interesting point, which I'm curious about, is, okay, well, yesterday I was working to try to get my Postgres to be migrated away from the my MacBook local computer and putting it onto AWS. So I was using RDS, AWS RDS, and from that, okay, well, how would I do an integration test with cloud? Interesting. Okay, so check out v4. This is still for these are the steps for the integration test. Okay. This is printing and then doing a for loop. Wait for the services. Okay. .NET build, no test, verbose, normal, filter, fully qualified, name, integration. Okay. Unit tests run on every push or PR. Integration tests are optional and can be invoked manually via run workflow. Set integration to true. The integration job uses GitHub service containers for Redis. Okay, so this one is not Docker containers. These are GitHub service containers for Redis and Postgres. Adjust image and health checks as needed. If you prefer test containers in your test code, the integration job can be simplified to only provide Docker access. Okay. All right, so once a workflow file exists in the repo, GitHub will run it for any branch or pull request that matches the triggers defined in the workflow. So on, push, pull request, okay? Not there. Here. On, push, or on, pull request, okay? Right now, the workflow was added in my feature branch. It will only become part of my main branch once I merge the PR, okay? Another coffee break. Okay, so is my understanding correct about the branch and PR? Yes, I've nailed it. Okay. Copilot created a new branch. It added unit tests and integration tests. A GitHub action workflow in that branch. It then opened a pull request to merge those changes into main. Okay. Your role now is to review the changes, make sure the unit tests and workflow look good, and then approve the PR if you're happy with them. Okay. So do GitHub Actions only apply to this PR? No, once merged, the workflow applies repo-wide, okay? The CI pipeline is defined in the workflow file. It says on pull request, then every future pull request will automatically trigger the same pipeline. You don't need to create a brand new workflow for each pull request. The only reason it looks like specific right now is because the workflow file exists only in my feature branch. Okay, I'm starting to understand the state that I'm at. Okay, it becomes part of the main and then applies to all branches and pull requests. Okay, so I believe it's this one. Yeah, okay. So let me make this a little bit smaller here, okay? So now this is one that I'm signed into, okay? So I should be able to come to pull requests here. You opened this pull request, okay? Add extensive unit, so come into here, okay? And notice it has 1,000 lines right here. Okay, so I can do create a merged commit, squash and merge, rebase. All commits from this branch will be added to the base branch via a merge commit. The 5 commits from this branch will be combined into one commit. No, I don't want that. The 5 commits from this branch will be rebased and added to the base branch. Well, from this, that one sounds the most appealing. So let's see kind of what we have here. So I have conversation, commits, check at or checks, files changed. So if I go to files changed, okay, I can see all of this. This is the CI that we just looked at. Yep. So if here suggested, this is the documentation. This is fine, right? Then I have this bid controller test, okay? So these are the actual tests which it added. So I added a whole bunch of tests, okay? The CI. Oh, I see. Everything here is okay. Here's the guide. Okay. Yes. Here is the adding the NuGet packages to my C# project. Okay, that makes sense. This one here is the changes that it made to my controller tests right here. So I added all of that, okay. Then this one is tests, okay. And we'll need to look into all of this to understand what's actually happening. But right now I'm trying to understand what state we're in, okay? So then it has all of that. So I'm just looking at all of the changes which have occurred here, okay? Okay, keeps going and going through all of these. The changes that happened to unit test 1. So this is something that we had on our main branch as of this morning. So it changed a lot. It took away this namespace. It added probably a different namespace, that one. What does this plus do? I'm afraid to do it. What I can do this one. Explain, attach to current thread, okay. Unchanged files with check annotations. Check warning on line 53. Suggest using top level route registrations instead of end use point. Okay. Okay, so now up here I see like 0 out of 12. What does this do? Review changes. Okay. Leave a comment. Markdown is supported. I can approve. Oh no, I can't approve. Request change. Comment. Okay, what about checks? What's happening in checks? So unit tests, set up a job, rerun all. What if I just press that? What happens? Okay, so something is happening here. Add test and CI guide for entry level. Okay. So obviously this is taking a lot faster than what we did here. Not Copilot, but I mean here, when this command took like 5 seconds to do. I guess 1.5 seconds. This one is taking its time. Okay, don't really know what's going on. Okay, what's happening? I have no idea what just happened. Okay, something happened. I don't know what's going on there. So, oh, I'm now in actions again for some reason. Okay. Oh, because I was doing an action. That makes sense. This one. And now we were at checks and it was like failing for stuff. Okay. Commits. So these are the commits that I did, or the Copilot did on my behalf. 0 out of 4, 0 out of 4, all of this. I don't know what that's meaning. Okay. Is this? That's fine. I don't know. Okay. Why does it have that X there, though? Some checks not successful. Details. Huh. What does open do? Status is open. Okay, that's fine. I definitely don't want to do that. I can say, this pull request was created by Agentic Copilot and is now under my review. Okay, maybe I can try that and see what it does. Okay, comment. Okay, where did that go? Okay, commented now. Okay, add extensive unit test. Okay. So I'm gonna come here and go like this, and then I'm gonna paste this into here. Okay, and then I am going to go to the checks. Okay, and then I'm going to copy all of this actually. Fine, I'll copy all of this. Okay, and then paste that into here as well, and then see what it has to say about things. All right, it's still thinking. I'm gonna take a breath. Did I go somewhere? I see that I am frozen. I don't know if I am... Oh, okay. Apparently I'm back. Okay, so what's going on here? You're failing GitHub action checks because the test runner vtest is being invoked incorrectly in CI. Let's unpack what is happening and how you can fix it. So what the log tells us, the workflow is trying to run tests using vtest, .NET vtest under the hood. It passes a DLL path. But the test execution step fails. How to fix it? The most common fix is to use .NET Test instead of .NET VTest. Okay, yeah. .NET Test automatically builds the project if needed. Finds the test assemblies, runs XUnit. Okay. Is a lower level and requires exact DLL matches. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go into here. I want to copy and paste this into here. And then see where do we see vtest though? Do we see vtest? Because I thought we saw a .NET build or .NET test right there. I'm not seeing vtest. And then it says next steps, check your workflow, the YAML, okay, yeah, that runs vtest. I'm not seeing it. Replace it with this one, okay? Test it locally first. Push the fix. Here is my ci.yaml file. I don't see anything about the vtest, and when I run the command on my local computer, I see. Let me copy and paste this. Let me go up here and I can just go like this. Copy that and paste it here. Okay. So thanks for sharing. Even though your workflow uses .NET Test under the hood, .NET evokes vtest runner. That's why here, so you're not explicitly calling vtest in my YAML. It's just internal mechanism. Locally, everything works fine because your solution and test project line up correctly. The earlier GitHub action run fails because the workflow or auto-generated one from Copilot tries to run tests by pointing directly at the DLLs. That's brittle. Paths differ between local and CI environments. Your current workflow, the one you pasted, is correct. It uses .NET Test Add Simulator solution implicitly, which builds and discovers property. So current state. Locally, .NET Test runs fine. 22 tests succeeded, 2 are skipped, as expected. Yeah, that makes sense. Workflow, the YAML you pasted looks good. It should run the same way in CI, but it doesn't though. Confirm that the workflow is committed, okay. If Copilot's earlier workflow, let me just check to see what is going on with the other one, right? Like what, how would I do that? That means I need to go into my code, right? Go into my code, look under, find the YAML, which was workflows, GitHub. Where is GitHub though? .github. Okay. Oh, this is on main. I don't want main. I want this one. Okay. Workflows. Here. Okay, so now I want to see. It's that. So it is there. Like okay. View runs. Hmm. So if Copilot's earlier, no, it didn't seem to have it at least. Push and rerun. Okay. Merge PR when stable. Key. When I go to GitHub, I look at the ci.yaml file on my test branch and I see no vtest. So this means that that is the file which is being ran, correct? So why is it still failing? What can I do to give you more context into this situation so you can help solve it? All right. Let's try to see what it has to say. Wiki, actions, projects. Okay. So, is the YAML file being run? Yes. GitHub Action always runs the workflow files that exist in your main branch. Since you see this in your test branch, that's the file being executed when CI runs. The fact you don't see vtest in the YAML is expected. Here, internally calls it, which, okay, so why it's still failing. Okay. The working directory may differ if the workflow doesn't specify the solution file. .NET Test may try to run against the wrong path. Okay. The most useful things you can share are the exact error from the GitHub Actions run. You already pasted part of it, but the full test should help. How do I get that? Summary? Annotations. I don't know. What happens if I come here and do, so get branch, okay, I'm here, get gen, and then test this one. It's gonna say up to date, but does it trigger anything here? No, how do we see that though? So follow-up question number 1, this one, how do I see the full message, full output? Okay, the directory structure of my repo, especially where add simulator. Okay. Is there a command line interface command that I can run which will give you this information? And I'm trying to talk about this one. Okay. The .NET SDK version installed in CI. You can add a debug step in my workflow. Okay. Next step, update my workflows test to explicitly point to the solution file. Okay, so I could try this, right? So now run unit tests, and then we're trying to replace the one that says run. Unit tests, run on this one, it should be, right? .NET test, add simulator, SLN. Let's ask those follow-up questions before we replace that. Okay. Okay. So, go to GitHub Actions. Awesome. This one, GitHub Actions. Okay, check. Click on failing workflow, the red one. Okay. What if I come here? Like, what does this mean, though? I'm seeing... I want the latest one, right? Probably. Okay. On the left sidebar, select the job. Left sidebar, select the job. This one. Okay. Expand the run unit test by clicking the little triangle. Little triangle. Yeah, I'm guessing it means this one, right? You'll see the full console output, not just the summary. I mean, that's what I copy and pasted, though. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. That's what I pasted. I mean, this one? Run unit test log section. Do I see a log section? Search logs. Here. View raw logs. Okay. Okay, here we go. Copy all of that. Okay. Paste that into there. Tree or... Let's see if I have tree installed. I don't know if I do. So I don't want to lose my context. I am going to just say how to install tree for Mac. Okay. Brew install tree. Okay, fine. Brew install tree. Okay, why is my computer acting this way? What? Okay, well, I'm back. Did this do anything? No, it failed. Awesome. Wait, no, did it fail? I don't know. I thought it failed. Oh, this one failed. Okay, never mind. This is the one that's happening. Fine. We'll let you do your thing. Okay, we're back. We're back, which means we should be able to now do this. Okay, here we go. So now, I can copy and paste this here. I don't know if this is going to force me to sign in. Okay. So, here. 2 skipped. Notice the mismatch. Debug release, okay. Assumes debug configuration unless you explicitly tell it otherwise. Build step. Okay. Edit here, replace the test step with the corrected command above. Commit and push to branch. GitHub Actions will rerun and should now pass. Okay, so I am going to copy and paste this. So this one here. I'm going to, in unit tests, I'm going to run unit tests, okay? I'm going to replace this one. Let me actually hashtag it out. I hope I did that correctly though. Okay, and then do this one. Now, actually, this gives me a good opportunity to view what might happen here when I push. Okay, so we have 4 things here. Last one happened at 1:30. So let me come here and I am going to actually, come on, my computer is okay, here we go. Git status. I just want to see what the okay, yep, that makes sense. Git add, and then git commit. Changed one line of my ci.yaml file because I was experiencing an error which I believe is due to the mismatch between release builds and debug builds. Testing to see if this change will cause my GitHub unit tests to pass. I am experiencing all unit tests on my machine passing, but getting errors when attempting to run the same actions on GitHub. Okay, git push origin test. Okay, so I'm going to run this command and we want to see what happens. I have to be quick on the draw. So I'm going to press it and then I'm going to press enter and then I'm going to press my button. Okay, enter, then the button. Did anything happen? No? Well, pushed it, right? Oh! Oh! Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. So there's 2 things which are being created right now. Both now, both in progress, okay? Why are there 2 things? That doesn't make much sense, does it? Changed one line of my C. So this is what I wrote here. Test, add high, like, this is something that Copilot wrote in the last video. So I don't know why it's there. In progress. Both of them have been in progress for over a minute now. Okay, why? Hey, look at that. Okay, okay, okay. All right, so now what we're gonna do is come up here. Oh, and we are going to say I pushed my code, and as you told me would happen, it did trigger the GitHub actions. This time it passed, but I am a little confused because it seems to have triggered two actions at the same time. Both passed, but I don't know what was going on here. And then I'm going to say, this is the commit message that I made right before I pushed my code. Okay? This was something I don't know about because I think Agentic Copilot did or wrote this. So I don't know what this is or what it is doing or why it was ran when I pushed my code. Okay. How much coffee did? Not much. And I've frozen again. Okay. There we go. I'm back. Kind of. Fourth cup down. Alright. So now, what is going on? Why two runs happened? On push, on pull request. Okay, that means push trigger every time you commit to your branch. So we committed here, actions run. Pull request triggered because you have an open pull request that branch into main. Every push also updates the pull request, triggers another one. So one commit, two workflows. CI number 5, CI number 6. Okay. CI number 5 ran because you pushed directly to the branch. CI number 6 ran because that branch is tied to an open pull request to main. Both are valid, both pass, so you're good. About the commit message. Changed one line in my here. It shows up in the GitHub action triggered on push. Okay. That's a commit Copilot made earlier when it scaffold tests. It's part of the same branch. History. Okay. Now, do I want to try to merge this into my main? So now that I got my test to pass, how do I get this to go into my main branch? What steps should I perform to correctly okay, like this? Is it now time to merge the pull request into my main branch? If so, okay. I like how at the beginning of this video, I was initially thinking that I was going to go through and kind of just read all of this and try to understand what the unit tests were about, but we went in a completely different direction. But I like that because now I actually understand a little bit about my current state, and then it gives me a little bit of a better framework by which I can move forward and understand the actual unit tests and how they're being used in the GitHub actions, how they're being used when I do the .NET test. Now I understand things a little bit better. I understand this. Now I can go up and understand this. I'm glad that I was able to do it correct, like in the correct order. Okay. So now what I can do is go to, okay. Let's just look at this one because this is the one that we're not going to do. And then we'll go up and look at the one that we will do. We can check out main, git pull, origin main, okay? So pull the latest changes down to my local, merge test here, and then push to main, okay? The way that we will do it, just because I want practice doing it this way. I mean, these are kind of just easy to just do, you know? But this one, I want practice using the actual interface and everything. Go to your repo on GitHub, pull request tab. Okay, let's follow along. Pull requests. Here, open the PR test, add high priority test unit, or unit test skeletons and suggested test document. Here, okay. Scroll down to the bottom of the PR page. Okay, all tests have passed, no conflicts. Okay. If all checks are green, you'll see a merge button. Ah, now we, hold on. Now we actually, oh wait, no, we were always able to do the merge, right? Yeah, because I remember that. Okay. Create a merge commit. And then confirm the branch changes are merged into main. Okay. Can you write a short description that I can put into the extended description? Commit message. Commit message and extended what? Message? Description. Actually, I'm going to keep that one. I like that it says pull request number. Yeah, I like that. Paste that into there and do this and then confirm merge. Okay. And closed. Oh, okay. Okay, that's pretty cool, huh? Just did this, right? Commented 2 hours ago. This one was 38 minutes ago. Okay. Branch can safely be deleted. I don't know if I want to delete the branch right now. Merged. Okay. So now if I go to code, does this go away? Yes, it does. Our pull request is over. And now we should be able to, if we come here, we should see the workflows now. Yes, we do, and we're in main. Awesome. See, look at that. And now we have all of those tests. Let's see, 2 hours ago. The docs were updated 2 hours ago. And where is test? Here, it was 2 hours ago. Yep. So now there's 2 branches. That's because I haven't deleted my thing yet, right? So that's still there. I'm going to go to GitHub Actions. We expect this to be here. Yes, we do. And here it is. Okay. All right. So all the workflows are still here. That's pretty cool. And pull requests here. There aren't any open pull requests. Okay. Closed. I can go. Can I visit? Closed. Yes, I can. Okay. Awesome. With one comment there. Okay. I'm just trying to understand how all of this is working, how it's fitting together. And I feel like I definitely learned a ton in this video. I learned about how pull requests work, how GitHub Actions work, how my YAML file, I had no idea even how to trigger an action. I thought that we were going to build stuff here, but no, it's actually on your program side. You create that YAML file, and then GitHub looks for that YAML and then runs those. We fixed a problem with that. I have more of an understanding of, okay, well, this is how the workflow operates of doing a pull request on a different branch, then trying to merge that into your main, and then a person reviews it, right, makes comments on it, and you're able to dynamically collaborate with other people. It's very different than what I normally do, which is just by myself and say, hey, I'm going to create this and push to main, kind of like that. So I learned a lot. I don't know how long this video has gone, because when I do these videos, what you guys see is the exact same thing that I'm seeing. So there's no timer. I don't see how long I've been recording. But however long this video is right here, in this duration, I feel like I've learned a ton of extremely useful and extremely important concepts within software engineering. So I am very, very, very happy. I am going to go take a little bit of a break, relax my mind, and then it's only 4 o'clock today. So we have a lot more videos that we need to make. We have a lot more that we're going to be doing. We have a lot more learning to be done today, but I am going to take a little bit of a break, let it settle in to my brain, and then we will be back. So if that is interesting, subscribe. I would love to have you along on this journey. We can continue to go together. And yeah, thank you for watching. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will see you guys in the next video coming up right up. All right. See you guys.